Okay, so you came here to help me out today. We were talking about shooting gear earlier,
Yep. Talking about shooting gear.
and you were like, "Hey, let's do a video on shooting gear," and that's what we're doing now.
Sounds good. Let's talk about some
And
stuff.
we're about to determine that my gear is not as pimp as your gear is on some things. And what is it? My shooting bag, my range bag is
Yeah,
a little weak compared to your range bag, right? So we'll talk about. So show me some gear that you, or actually, let's get on with why do we need shooting gear first? For competitions, right? And that's what this whole thing is about: shooting gear for competition, not necessarily EDC. It's a whole different video,
right.
but we want to talk about what does a guy want to start off with and graduate to for gear. So what did you do?
Man, I tell you, the hardest thing in getting, starting competitions is, first of all, having the guts to get out there and do it in front of your friends and people you don't know.
Yeah, so when we talked Houston into doing that, it took a second, especially in the 3-gun side of the house. He was really good at he had gotten good at the USPS pistol.
Yep.
And didn't want to graduate to 3-gun because I think it's because he wasn't fair as well, and he ended up doing it.
And I remember when Houston initially asked me about getting a competition right away. He talked about trying to get in a 3-gun right away, and I steered him away from that. I steered him and tried just the pistol stuff because again, there's all rule set you got to learn and just how it all works and the management of how I'm going to manage my stuff during the match. And you start with the pistol stuff, but went in 3-gun pretty quick. And obviously he's got a very good skill set for that.
Snatched that pebble, didn't he?
Yeah. Very, very good skill set for that, and obviously graduated very quickly into being a pro.
Right.
Pro shooter that he is today.
Bays Morgan's doing it.
Yeah, sure.
It's not bad. So, so we talked about a couple of different types of competition. We said USPSA and then we said 3-gun, but what are those competitions that you shoot or that you know of?
Well, so you've got USPSA, which is action pistol, which that's a division of IPSC, which is International Practical Shooting Federation. That's kind of where it all started in the early 80s, if I remember right. Then, of course, you got IDPA, which is another pistol shooting competition.
Isn't different IDPA a little different as in more strict on some rules?
Well, I would tell you they all have a lot of rule sets. They're all pretty strict on their rule sets.
Right.
But USPSA gives a lot more freedom to the shooter to solve the problem of the stage or the scenario that they're shooting. That's up to them. When IDPA is a little more strict with that stuff.
Right.
I personally like USPSA better because I like having the freedom. But there's still different rule sets you got to learn in between the two. And of course, you got to do the rules. Otherwise, you get penalized for it. You get penalties.
So we have USPSA, IDPA.
Yep.
IPSC is under USPSA, right? Is that what you said?
Or USPSA is under IPSC.
Under IPSC.
So,
that's right.
Actually, this past weekend was the United States IPSC match for the United States. They just had it this weekend, I believe.
And then they have, what is it, 3-gun?
Yep, they got 3-gun. There's different rule sets that people follow for 3-gun. And there's IMG, International Multi-Gun Rules. There was another one called 3-Gun Nation that was pretty popular for a while, which I think is now defunct.
Right.
There's no longer around there. There's the UML, United Multi-Gun League.
I think Houston shoots that one.
Yeah, UML is pretty popular right now. But USPSA is still the test of time with the rule set and stuff and the organization itself. And 3-Gun seems to be, they'll have an organization, then they'll go away, then they'll have another rule set. And a lot of them are outlaw too.
Right.
There's a lot of outlaw matches out there too. There's a lot of outlaw steel matches. There's also Steel Challenge, which is owned by USPSA.
And aren't those specific stages?
They are, yeah. So Steel Challenge, in the rule book, there's 8 Steel Challenge stages. So yesterday, I just shot the Tennessee State Steel Challenge match.
Like Smoke and Hope is one of them.
Is one of them, that's right. Smoke and Hope is one of them. And there's 8. So for a state match, Steel Challenge is pretty simple. And one thing I would like to say about Steel Challenge is, you got 8 different stages. It's real simple. You just need a holster for the most of it. And if you shoot some divisions, you don't even need a holster. Like if you shoot 22 divisions, like if you shoot 22 rifle, they've got 22 pistol, don't even need a holster for that. So for a person getting into matches, that's a real simple, easy thing to understand to get into a shooting competition.
And, some folks were like, I'm not into shooting competition. It's not the real thing. And, they realize there are competitions in everything in life, just about. And, why not? When it comes to shooting competition, it actually helps you learn efficiency, I think, in shooting.
It does. I mean, it definitely.
Yeah, it's not. Is it practical? Some cases, I would believe it is, but most of the part, no. But it still trains you to shoot better, I think, than our traditional military method of learning how to shoot. I was terrible compared to since I went to civilian courses and learned from civilians to shoot. They're much better at it than I was, and those competitions actually they will embarrass you.
And that's what a lot of military guys are scared of, is to get into the matches. Like when I shot my very first match, right? At the time, I was a ranger instructor in Dahlonega, Georgia. And I'll probably tell you this story. So I'm in Gainesville, Georgia, not too far from Dahlonega. And I see this sign that says shoot match at a range again.
You're driving by.
I'm like, shoot match. And I'm like, man, I want to go shoot this thing. At the time, I'd been deployed to combat twice. I was a staff sergeant. I was a ranger instructor. And I thought I was a total badass because of who I was, not because of the training I had with firearms, right? And I'm thinking to myself, I am going to go shoot this match, and I'm going to go win this thing because I am a ranger. And that was my attitude.
That's right.
That was my total attitude, right? I'm going to go win this match, right? So I go down to this range there in Gainesville, and I go shoot this match, right? Not only did I not have the skill set to beat any civilians, I came in DFL. All right.
Dead fucking last.
Dead fucking last, right? I came in dead last. And I thought because of who I was, I had some magical skill set. And if you look at, the nation's most elite military members, the guys at Fort Bragg at the unit and, the guys in Virginia Beach, where do they go to learn shooting and marksmanship? Civilians.
Correct.
They go to civilians. They go to the top elite shooters in the country that shoot USPSA, as an example. They go to those guys to learn.
Army Marksmanship Unit.
Army Marksmanship Unit, right?
Which is a military unit, but
very specialized.
Use civilian mindset when it comes to shooting.
The military is so far behind in marksmanship training.
Yeah, it is.
And basic military units, all they learn is how to zero and qual. and barely that.
Once or twice a year.
Yeah.
I get, I teach on a simulator. Train folks on a simulator.
Which is an awesome way to learn.
Yeah, which I get students, they come in and, I'm in the military, so I just need a refinement, a little tweak here and there. Yeah. And I was like, and right off the bat, I'm like, okay, got it. And then we get into the training, I realize they don't know shit.
Yeah.
They've been taught, well, they don't know what they don't know. It's not their fault. But they're also in their assumption that, like you were, I know what I'm doing. I'm in the military. I touch my rifle twice a year, and I know what I'm doing, that kind of thing.
And exactly like you said, you don't know what you don't know.
That's right. So any other types of competition formats?
Yeah, there's the handgun stuff. We talked about Steel Challenge. There's precision rifle matches out there.
Right.
There's precision rifle series out there. There's a NRL, National Rifle League, and I don't do any of the precision rifle stuff with centerfire, but I do shoot the NRL 22.
22, you told me about that.
Yeah, which they just changed their name actually the other day. It used to be the National Rifle League 22. Mm-hmm. Now it's the National Rimfire League 22. So it's basically, the cool thing about that is you can shoot the same style of matches they do with centerfire, just at reduced distance, which enables more ranges to have it because it's easy to do with the 22. So, and again, it teaches you the same skill set.
Tiny little targets.
Yeah, tiny little itty bitty things. Yeah, they're really small.
So, if somebody wanted to get into this, any of these, we'll just pick one. We're going to pick USPSA handgun.
Yeah, handgun.
Or, there are levels also in that handgun. Correct?
Certainly. Levels of skill set, divisions with different gear.
So if they wanted to get started, what gear would we start off with? Because I can show you what I started off with.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me get mine. So I started off with a belt like this right here. just like a nylon belt,
which
right?
is Aries gear belt.
Right. And I actually used, let me see, here we go. My carry stuff from my Glock 21, because that's what I used then, is my Glock 21. I used just these to start off shooting, one for holster and one for the magazines, and that was it. Is there anything more than this or better that somebody could use?
That's perfect. I mean, I was, they wanted to spend money right away. I said, like, just bring what you got.
Right.
See what other people are using and go from there. Because, everyone's got life, with family and kids and, just their job. And, so you don't know how much time it's going to take for you to get into the stuff. It's going to be expensive if you do it for long term, especially if you want to shoot at the higher levels.
Buy the right gear to begin with.
Yes.
Or any gear if you have to. Instead of buying gear, you're like, you know what? I never used this damn thing anyway, and you wasted money on it.
Yeah. Matter of fact, bring your belt over here. Let's talk about the belt. The belt you just had out. I mean, you look at this belt. I mean, this is, it's not a cheap belt, but it is sturdy.
It's a good belt.
A good, sturdy belt.
Right. I wear this daily.
Right. Matter of fact, I'm wearing mine right now.
Right.
Right. I got the exact same belt. I wear it every day. But this belt here, you need a good, sturdy, stiff belt that can hold and support gear.
I have seen I do carry a Groove Life belt. It's got a slight bit of elastic to it, but it is, in my opinion, not very good for carry, because it does give a lot compared to this.
Yeah, and that's an awesome belt.
This is a good belt for anything, farming, it doesn't matter. It's just a damn good belt. That's the reason I bought it to begin with. So, yeah, I like that belt. It's really nice.
And, like your holster, like I saw a couple people open carrying yesterday. Mm-hmm. I was, and believe it or not, they were actually at a bar with alcohol in their hand, carrying a gun, which you can't do in the state of Tennessee. Anyway, beside the point, though, they had a nylon Uncle Mike's type holster with a little snap on it.
Yeah.
That's just a poor holster.
Right.
Again, you need a good quality holster. I always recommend a holster that doesn't collapse when you put the pistol away. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, I'm going to go grab my old school belt here, since we're talking about that. And you look at, evolution of gear. I mean, this is the original Warfighter belt right here. I mean, a leather holster with a flat. I mean, this is nothing you want to shoot with matches.
Right.
But
they were shooting with matches,
but they were stacking bodies.
Two-way range.
But it doesn't work. I mean, anything leather that collapses, you don't want to use. I mean, it's yeah.
Get to your mags
That's
quickly.
As old school as it gets, right there. And this is nothing you want to use today.
Unless you're reenacting.
Yeah, unless you're reenacting.
Hey, why not pull that out at a match? Clip it on. Yeah. Go, all right, boys, it's on.
I mean, they do have vintage D-Day mats and stuff. Perfect gear for that. But for the for style stuff for shooting today, it's probably not something.
So pretty much basic. Be basic with your gear.
Yeah, start out with, absolutely.
Right.
The hardest part is getting started. A lot of people don't have the courage to get in front of their buddies.
I also have a few friends who will see the latest and greatest pew-pew on the shelf and go, I got to have that, because they're into getting into shooting competition. They'll go, I got to have that gun right there. I was like, I'll back up. I'll say, have you learned to shoot your Glock 17 yet? Basic Glock 17 before you add all these damn parts. They're like, yeah, I've learned. Of course, I know they haven't.
Yeah.
Just as a rhetorical question. But I don't think folks need to, in my opinion, jump into high-speed pistols or gear for their pistols, parts, accessories, until they have improved on the basics.
Absolutely. Right? You can't replace skill set with gear,
right,
and guns and high-end guns. You can't. You got to have the training and the skill set, and that's where if you got money, when you're starting out, that's where it's a good place to spend it,
right,
on training and skill set and stuff. Another hard thing too when you're training for this type of stuff, which I know that's where some want to talk about a little bit too, is a lot of places it's hard to train for this type of matches because they don't allow holster draws.
Yeah.
They don't allow you maneuvering around with the firearm. So when I go to indoor ranges, one thing I've got a little book. It's a 3-ring binder. I probably should have bought that thing, and I got different targets in there. Mm-hmm. So even though they may not allow you to draw from a holster, doesn't mean I can't take the pistol off the table and do my mag change.
Right.
So I'll grab the pistol off the table, and that's another skill set you got to have in the shooting match. So I'll grab my pistol off the table and practice my shooting. Doesn't mean I can't change magazines rapidly, which is another huge skill set you got to have. So I'll take magazines off my belt. There's nothing in the rule set says I can't do that.
Right. Plus, you could also do a lot of that at home.
Yes, absolutely.
Dry firing exercises and stuff like that. And we'll get to that in a little bit. But all right, so back to, so let's say somebody has had the same gear for a season, and they're like, you know what, I want to up my game a little bit. What could they
Okay, let me
graduate to?
Yeah, let me go get some of my stuff I have over here. So your gear that you have is based on the division you're shooting. So there's a lot of rules, and actually so this is an older rule book here, but this is the USPSA rule book.
Right.
So it talks about all the divisions and the gear and stuff requirements. And stuff.
So great reference for you to say, or, can I put this gear on? Can I use this gear?
Yeah.
And this will let you know if that's...
Absolutely. It'll talk about the divisions of the gear requirements. So depending on the division you're shooting, definitely it's something you want to at least peruse and look at, So this is, one of my USPSA belts I use. Actually, you want to get...
inner belt.
Yep, you want a good inner belt. So this goes through your pants right here. And of course, you can see it's got...
Houston uses that as his regular belt.
Regular
for
belt.
daily use.
So that's the inner belt you want there with
Because
the Velcro.
Velcro's on the inside also.
Yeah.
Connects to that. Makes it so it won't slip.
Yeah, absolutely. And believe it or not, they used to have the hook portion out back in the day, and you go sit in your vehicle and mess it all up. So now they put the fuzzy stuff there to make it a little better. I don't know why they did it the other way before. But this is a Safari Land gear. This is my holster I use, and lately I've been shooting USPSA limited optics. Okay, so I've been shooting limited optics. So this is the gear I use. Matter of fact, I even have a spare battery there for my optic.
You showed me that your new optic has a little magnet door on it.
Yeah,
It's like
Leopold optic.
change it out, right?
Yep. So this is, my gear belt. It's really stiff. Hold all my gear. If you switch different guns, it's got little clips on there. They're called ELS clips, and you can change magazine pouches if you have that.
I have that on my holster.
Yeah, you got
So here's
the QLS clip on that one. Yeah.
This is right here. So this is for my CZ. I have it labeled CZ on here, and
I can even put it on there if you want to.
They all click into those universally, so
Yeah.
you can change your guns out if you're
Real
changing
easy to
different
come off.
guns. And they also have. I also have this for on my belt here. My range belt here does the same thing. If I'm going to change out from my CZ to my Glock, which is actually that's my Glock. This is my CZ, and I can just change it out. And,
Yeah, pretty simple.
And I have everything's the same. So I like that system. Who makes that system?
It's Safari Land. Those are called the smaller ones are ELS, and the larger ones are called QLS.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that system. But this is a different holster.
Yeah, this is actually a really old Blaytech holster. I don't think they make this holster anymore. It's a real old Blaytech holster. Blaytech back in the day, there wasn't too many Kydex benders back in the day, and Blaytech was pretty popular. So it's a really older Blaytech holster. And then I took these are from ski boots. So I cut the system
Yeah,
they have.
Rob Limke sold me his or gave me his for that my belt like this, and it's just a little ratchet system.
It's a ratchet system. Makes it nice and easy.
Especially when you get to our advanced age and we start gaining gravity.
Yeah, it comes on out.
All right.
And after I was noticing the size of your belt earlier.
Ooh.
This is a Safari Land holster here that's meant to put your gun in. Pretty simple.
Do you have a gun that goes
I
in
do.
that?
Let me go grab that.
Oh, so this is pretty much open rigs, or what they call open division, right?
It could be used for multiple divisions.
That's how I normally see it for, is like an open gun type.
Like, for example,
that's obviously that might be an open gun.
No, it's a limited gun.
Okay.
So this holster could be used in open or limited optics. So it could be used for multiple divisions. And of course, you can see that the pistol's just clear barred, just so you see there's no magazine. I got a chamber flag in it there. So I'm going to take this thing out here. But, the way the handgun goes in, you can see it fits in. It's got a little spud on the end for then your barrel. goes in, and then you can have it on your belt when you're walking around the range. You can click this lever here, and it's not coming out. I mean,
I
you can
have
tug on that
seen
thing.
folks forget to, or out of habit, they load it and then they click that out of habit, and then when they pull it, nothing. Got it.
Yeah, so of course, when they give your commands on the range, make ready. Obviously, you want to hit this, pull the pistol out, do your loading sequence, then put it back in and leave your clip down. It does have also a little retention adjustment here, which I never used to use. But when I'm walking around the range, like I said, I would just click that.
Okay. So probably not a good holster or choice for 3-gun.
No, not a good
because
holster
of
at
the
all.
movement and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely.
I have seen some shooters, how to 3-gun. Do you have one of the rack on top or whatever they call it, one attached to the frame for the dot?
Yeah, sure do.
Open gun. Well, that's attached to the slide. I was talking about, how they have the sights.
Yeah, I don't have a traditional open gun.
And it won't fit in a regular holster. So I've known guys that have gotten away from the mounts attached to the frame, and they're just driving it this way now, and with holsters like that.
Right. So an open gun would have, just like you said, they'd have screws in the frame there, and that's where the mounting system would be. So when the slide would reciprocate back and forth,
The dot doesn't move.
The dot doesn't move.
Right.
So this is the gun here, my limited optics gun. It's a staccato. I got a Leopold dot on there. But now I've been shooting limited optics with this gun. Been shooting 3-gun with this gun. I shot Steel Challenge with this gun yesterday.
That's a big thing on saving money is ensure. Whenever anybody buys a Glock now, I tell them to make sure that it's an MOS gun.
Absolutely.
Because you don't need to use the dot now, but you may want to later, and you can attach a dot to it.
Right.
If you don't have that, you're going to have to cut it or buy a new slide.
Yeah, buy a new slide.
It's just more money.
And I was slow on the optic, adopted it,
yes.
unlike you. Went
Jumped
pretty
on it.
early right away, which, yeah.
So this gun is a what? What's
So I shoot it in limited optics, USPSA.
That's right.
It's probably not the ultimate best gun to shoot, but it's pretty good.
Yeah. Another 2011. You guys are 2011s.
Yep.
So upgrading, as you can see, we went from the simple belt to a rig like, what was the other one you just showed me?
Here we go. Like this one.
Yeah, this one here, USPSA type thing, which is just handgun only, to going to a 3-gun type.
My
rig.
3-gun belt.
People look at these and go, well, those are awful big pistol mag holders, and these are actually for shotgun shells.
Yeah, for shotgun shells. And the cool thing about this system here, again, like we already talked about, the ELS, if I'm shooting a stage that doesn't have shotgun on it, I'm taking these things off.
Yeah, no reason to get them hung.
And exactly, because it's going to get hung on something. And if my stage doesn't require this many shotgun rounds, I'll only put the number ones on there I need.
Right.
I have one in the back here, and again, that's just for storage when I'm hanging in my little shop I have. Mm-hmm. But again, I'll use that up there. And the way I look at these things, they're like magazines. Well, how many mags do I need to load to my stage?
Right.
There's 1 mag, 2 mags, or whatever I need that works for me. This is my holster here I use for 3-gun. I got a little leg strap on there. The pistol goes in there. I do have these little tension adjusters there. One thing you want to make sure with 3-gun, a little more physical, when you're running, like you said earlier, if the gun comes out, you're getting disqualified.
Yeah, you're DQ'd.
You're DQ'd from the match. So you want to make sure you have the retention you need for whatever you're doing.
Because there's tunnels you have to go through sometimes. Yep. The gun isn't always preset in a barrel ready to go for you, or on a table. Sometimes you got to run through tunnels with these, crawl over stuff, through stuff, and all the time. And it's okay to drop magazines and gear. You drop that gun and you're DQ'd. So that thing has to be connected. I've seen them come out.
Yeah. So you may want some kind of retention. Just Fireland makes stuff with they got an ALS little lever, which I didn't bring one of those holsters here, but they have some different stuff. And I was running one for a while, but the holster I was using isn't compatible with my pistol with the optic, so I had to get a new holster. So now I'm stuck with this.
All right, so let's get some of this gear off of here that you showed me, and I'll put it over here if you don't mind. Spider's that.
come over here. You can break out whatever else you want to break this out right here.
Okay.
Under that. There we go.
Let me come back around this table here.
Here, we're talking about this thing here.
So, even though you have this book. Yes.
Which is probably the older version of the book, but that's what I had.
I'm sure there is a
paper.
newer version. I'm not sure. I'm sure you can find it on the internet.
It's on the internet. They don't count that you give out even paper copies anymore.
It explains the length of magazine
Yeah.
per division, your max length.
Yep, sure
It
does.
explains, doesn't it explain velocities?
It does. There's this thing called power factors.
Right.
If they have, there's major, minor power factor. There's nothing worse than you go to a major match, like I shot Area 6. It was at South River Gun Club by Atlanta a long time ago. And my buddy was shooting open. Guy named Jeff. Anyway, they have a chronograph station he had to go to. Well, he goes to the chronograph station, and anyway, he went from major power factor to minor power factor. Matter of fact, there's someone that's related to you that I took to a match one time, and he had some chronograph issues.
Oh, did he?
He did.
Now, that's not stuff I loaded.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he loaded on some loader. He had some chronograph issues at a match one time. Yeah.
So, major versus minor is a caliber. It is a caliber thing, but when it comes to 9mm, you can be in major or minor in 9mm depending on the load.
Yes. So for USPSA, again, something you want to look in the rule book, but major power factor, you can shoot 9mm or 38 Super, etc. There's some other calibers you can shoot, but 9mm is only allowed open, straight up 9mm for safety consideration.
Because that gun is designed
Yeah.
for the higher pressures.
Yep.
Right.
So again, the important part is learn the rules, whatever competition you're shooting. I mean, ultimately, that's it.
You don't want to show up and go, I saw a video of Byron
Yeah.
and Tony and they said this. No,
You need to
this
go-
explains everything right here. So, like this little gauge.
So,
just showed-
example, this pistol here that I pulled out earlier is my limited gun.
we don't need this one here anymore.
Now we don't need it anymore. But this is my limited gun. This is a 40 caliber Smith & Wesson, which is now kind of antiquated. The caliber is kind of dying.
Yeah.
However, it's still applicable in USPSA. Now I'm shooting dots and it's got iron sights, and I have eye issues. Hard time shooting my iron sights these days. I shot this gun for years. It was built by a custom gunsmith for me. But this is the magazine that I was using, and it's limited magazine. Well, there's a max length to the magazine it could be, and you go to a major match, you're gonna have a gauge like this, and they may randomly go up to you and like, let me see your magazine. So they'll put your magazine in a gauge just like this. Oh, let me slip it over here, and notice it sits flat right there. If this magazine wouldn't sit flat against this, they would move me to open division
Off the bat.
right away.
Do they give you a chance to?
No.
I noticed that you did this. Do they
Yeah, I
give you
did.
that chance?
Nope, they don't. It's up to you to figure that out beforehand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
so
sure
you
is.
can't, because it looks like you
So
skin it off here just a
did.
little bit, enable for it to
And
fit
now,
in
why did I
there.
do that? Because I was trying to get the max amount of rounds possible in this magazine, and there's different companies make different stuff to put in here, like different followers. Like this follower's even locked the slide back,
Right.
right? So I'm sacrificing that to get a follower that's a little shorter to get the max capacity. So this is actually made by Dawson, this base pad here, and it says, they even throw a disclaimer. It says SNL, sometimes not legal. They even tell you that when you buy it.
Right.
So you should know that. But it's machined on the inside to give the maximum allowable space on the inside. So if you go to a match and they go like that, they're moving you to a different division. It doesn't fit. Just like if I declare open division, I'm sorry, not open, major power factor with this gun, and I don't make major, I'm still shooting a match and limited. However, they're moving me to minor power factor.
Right.
So I'm shooting something that's
Which
got more
is-
power.
When
than
it
I'm
comes
afraid
to
shot
power
by match.
factor, that matters on
The targets.
the targets right there.
want to talk about that?
Can I move this out of the way here so we don't knock it over?
Yeah.
Very good.
So it matters on this thing right here. This is a USPSA target, and we got different scoring zones in it. We've got A, C, and D. They used to have a B zone up in the head, which they got rid of. But the A zone is worth 5 points, regardless of major or minor power factor.
Right.
But the other zones are worth different points based on major or minor.
So if you're in minor and you hit a C, what is C3?
So it's 5 points in the middle. This would be 2 and 1
In minor.
in minor. In
That
major,
would be
3 and 2.
3 and 2, exactly.
Yeah. So it's different point value.
Right.
So it's a big difference.
Yes. Big.
Yeah, it's a big difference. So if you're basically, point being, if you say you're shooting major, you need to be shooting major. Otherwise,
Oh, I'm sure
You
there
can
are
have
people
some
blade
issues
running,
with that. Oh, yeah.
like EIB and all that kind of stuff. They're blade running the whole time. Just
Yeah.
barely made it, got that one more grain of powder.
yeah. So that's kind of how the target works there.
And this is which target?
The USPSA target.
That's right. I don't know the names. Right. Whoever's hanging the targets, I just shoot them.
And again, I'm going to jump on, to the rules. You want to know the rules, right? The more you know them, the more you can take advantage of the rules.
Right.
Or if someone's telling you something that's not right, you can make, say that's not right, pull out the rule book.
Right.
In a match. There's an advantage to knowing the rules, stuff like that.
And what was the other? Listen.
The other target here is a IDPA target. So their stuff works completely on time. Their match, how the scores work. USPSA, it's your raw score divided by your time equals a hit factor.
Hit factor, correct.
It's a little bit different. So IDPA is off time, and of course this is 0 points down. 0 seconds.
Seconds.
Seconds. 1, and this adds a second, adds 3
An
seconds.
entire second, which is a lot. People think, well, it's just adding a second to your time. But when you can shoot quarter-second splits, and you're adding a second for a miss,
it's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, you want to hit him in the center, obviously. Get your most point value.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's a lot of seconds, right?
Yeah, they're going to add some seconds, so you want to make sure. So it's also advantageous to know how it works to decide how you're going to shoot the stage. At USPSA, I can probably go a little faster and push myself a little bit more, but the time is weighted way more. So it's more important in this scenario, IDPA, to get 0 points down.
Right.
It's more important. It's more weighted, your times. And same thing with 3-gun, too. It's important to know the rule set for 3-gun. So wherever it comes.
Oh, yeah. So when you are buying gear, you need to consider what you want to get into. Do I want to get into 3-gun right off the bat? Or do I want to do USPSA first, and just do handgun? When I say USPSA, I should say handgun.
Just handgun matches.
Because it does. I suggest starting off with handgun first. It is the hardest of the guns to learn and shoot accurately and fast.
I'm with you on that too. Start off with handgun.
And then graduate slowly into other divisions or categories, if you will. Also, I have bought gear before that wasn't for me. It didn't fit me right. B, I wasn't comfortable wearing it, and you really should. There's nothing wrong, and I've seen it at a match where I was like, "Hey, that's a pretty nice piece of kit A or whatever. Can I try that on for a second, see how it fits?" They will gladly go, "Here, this is where I got it from. Try this out." I've not seen anybody who hasn't done that yet.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about matches. A lot of guys are pretty forthcoming with their stuff to at least show you or explain about it, and you can ask questions. That's why it's when you get first started, just show up what you got.
Yeah, and then learn.
And your major goal at a match when you first show up is not to get DQ'd. I mean, right? It's like if I go to a marathon, I never run marathons. Should I expect to win the marathon? I should not.
Right.
If I go to a shoot match, again, I already talked about my story, just because of who you are doesn't mean you have this miraculous skill set you're going to win. Go shoot the match. Don't get DQ'd. Have a good time with your friends. Talk a little bit of smack. And that's what it's about.
So, not getting DQ'd. Before I allowed Houston to go into matches, with his Glock 19 and all that, he had to demonstrate those skills with his airsoft Glock 19 here on the property, that he was able to conduct a drill and all the loading and unloading and clearing safely on the regular before we'll allow him to do a match.
And how old was he at that time? It's probably
He was probably
13, 14.
I started him off at around 9
Yeah.
doing that, and then we trained some here on the property.
Yeah.
But he was fully aware of the loading procedures and which are in here.
Yeah. It's all,
Loading procedures, unloading procedures, and you'll be told at the match,
Yeah.
load and make ready. Don't assume, did he say load? No, sit there and wait until somebody tells you what to do.
running a match, at the gun shop in town that I used to run the matches at. And I had my tablet there, and I just called, the shooter on deck and in the hole, right? Pretty common terminology from baseball, right?
Right.
So all I did is call the shooter's name. That's all I did. And he's got to come up to me and, take the rest of the commands. I just call his name, and you know what he does?
Starts loading.
Takes the pistol out of his holster, points it at me, and walks at me with his pistol out. He got DQ'd. I DQ'd him, right? But again, you don't anticipate the commands. All just calls the guy's name. There's nothing worse when you're at a match.
DQ, disqualification.
Yeah, disqualified. Yeah,
Not dead quick.
yeah. I got disqualified. So I DQ'd the guy. I'm like, I just called your name, and it's just like when you're at a match, if someone asks you about your gun, right? Hey, what kind of pistol you're shooting? Well, that's a really nice gun. He's just asking you a question. He's not saying take the gun out of the holster.
Right.
And
Because again,
don't DQ
at
it.
matches, and you'll see at matches, they will have safe zones.
Yep.
And they'll have, which are safe zones, are where you can take your pistol out, do maintenance on it, whatever, draw you want to do, whatever. But no ammo is not allowed there.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You can't have any ammunition. The magazines and all have to be away. There is an area for you to. It's not like you just. If I start the match, I can't take my gun out.
Yeah.
No, that's not the way it is. There are areas for you to do that and point the gun in that direction and all that. So,
Again, know the rules.
know the rules.
Back to the
Right.
rules. Always knowing the stuff.
So make sure you get her fits and A is safe. Last thing you want is
Absolutely.
that belt to come off in the middle of a run or something like
Yeah,
that.
the gun to fly out or lose magazines and
Yes.
Yep. And the one thing about shooting that really, really sucks, you're going to learn by failure.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to learn by, I can tell you, hey, you need to do X, Y, Z. But until you've been in that situation, had that need, you're probably not going to take someone else's advice.
Right.
And, winners have lost more than losers have ever failed.
Mm-hmm.
And shooting is learning by failure. It kind of sucks it's that way, but, you're going to learn by having poor gear, poor skill set. I mean, that's going to teach you a lot. And you learn, man, I got to change my method
Right.
of what I'm doing. Yeah.
And the biggest evil monster on the entire range is that little blue box.
Oh, man, we didn't bring one in.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. We got one. Hold on.
Yeah, the shot timer.
This son of a bitch right here, that's not it, I got it right here. In my tinkerly bag.
So,
Oh, there it is. The infamous pocket probe. This thing here will make you, this little device will make you lose your mind.
yes, the best laid plans, you're out there with the other guys that are doing their whole pretend mag changes and all this and looking at stages. And it's not just you, it's everybody. You're like, best laid plans, right? This is Murphy
Yeah, that's
right here.
that's
It's little blue Murphy right here. When you hear this right here, you hear that son of a bitch right there, you lose your mind.
Yep.
I forget my name, why I'm there at that range to begin with. How did I get there?
Yeah.
You forget just about everything. So I suggest getting one of these for yourself to practice on, so you can get used to that noise right there. I mean,
and that beep there is a quarter second in length.
right.
As a shooter, we should react to the beginning of the beep, right?
Right.
You don't wait to the end of the
And that's
noise.
something you can practice on in your house, dry firing with that there.
Which is another huge thing,
Right.
a whole other subject of dry firing,
Oh yeah. So, folks just don't show up with their new gear and expect to be able to blaze all the steel and cardboard targets. How do they practice to do that? And the biggest practice gig I can think of is dry firing, in your home or
The
whatever.
cool thing about those shot timers, I mean, you can set a delay on it. So the model I have, I can set a delay for exactly what I want: 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 4 to 6 seconds. I can pick the delay and I'll stick it on.
You put it random.
Yeah, yeah, and it'll pick between there, and I'll dry fire it in my shot. And of course, I want to make sure it's free of ammo and safe and all that.
Right.
The safe considerations, which is huge with dealing with firearms. Because I have a couple buddies that were getting ready for a match back in the day, and they were in the hotel room, and I have 2 people, and they both did the same technique too. They both put holes in their hotel wall, and they both used toothpaste to cover up the hole. And look out the hall and make
The
sure
only issue is, since you're dry firing, you don't get the concussive, the sound
No, you
that will
don't.
give you your shots.
But you can set up part-time.
But you set a part-time, exactly. That
A
you are
beginning
done
and
with your drill before the second beep happens.
Yeah.
Correct. And it gets you used to the noise. A lot of folks,
Which is huge.
freak out. Yes, that is huge.
And it's a learned skill like everything.
And so in the dry firing, so we have some gear, and we've not talked about bag yet. We'll talk about range bag in another video.
Yeah.
That's
That's a whole other subject.
we have some gear. Now, how do we train with this gear? What, I find in my home or on, is the best way for me to train and get used to where this gear is. You know what I mean? How do you do it?
So, I mean, you got to figure out what you want to work on, right? So come up, like you want to go to indoor range, I come with a plan. I come to your range, right? I go with a plan. I just don't go out there and just launch bullets, right? I have a plan of things I want to accomplish, right? So you have to start off, number one, with a plan. What do I want to work on today?
And record it. As
Yeah.
in,
You
make sure
keep-
there's a record of everything.
Yeah, you keep
worked on.
data books, right? Or at least you should know what your skill set is on what you could do certain tasks. So pick out the task that's important to you. And the easiest one to start with is the holster draw.
Yeah.
Not easy, but the simple one to start with,
Mm-hmm.
right? Work on your holster draw, right? So that's, a good task to work on when you go to the range, and magazine changes is another good task, right? But when we start holster draw, it's not just holster draw and single shot. It's holster draw, single shot, holster draw, multiple shots. Then we have to go to holster draw, single target, multiple shots. Then move the gun to the next target, which we call driving the gun.
Right.
Driving the gun, working on different targets, working at different depths, a closer target to a far target, right? Because, every target requires a different amount of attention, right? I can't shoot at the same speed at a close target as I can at a far target.
Right.
Because target's further away, and I want to hit it. If you don't want to hit it, it doesn't matter. Shoot the same speed, right? You just may not have the result you want. So yeah, go with a plan. Work on the task you want to work on. Of course, we can be efficient with that stuff. And the cool thing with the shot timer that we talked about, even in dry fire, we can set our part time. Where if say I want to get the gun out of the holster in 2 seconds, which is quite a bit of time. Then I start taking a tenth of a second off of time. Because as shooters, we think in tenths of seconds. I don't think in minutes. I think in tenths of seconds, out of shape.
That's you're looking at your your hit factor.
Yeah.
And that plays into that, and you want that bigger number.
Yeah. And of course, that's just static shooting. And then we have all those tasks we have to do static, and then we got to work on shooting on the move, being efficient with our movement into multiple positions. There's so much to work on.
So there's a couple of other tools out there to help you besides just dry firing. Dry firing is a great tool, but there's an addition to that dry fire that you can add to your firearm with the Mantis.
The Mantis.
You use
Yeah, the Mantis X.
The problem is holsters for the Mantis and all that stuff.
Yes and no, because Mantis also makes magazine adapters. And you can hook your Mantis to a little Picatinny rail on your magazine. Now you can shoot your rubber holster.
Boom.
Or, if you had a drill and a little piece of Picatinny, you could probably make your own. I mean, honestly, right? Or you can put it on your, rail of your gun, but then of course, then again, the holsters. You have to use holsters. A flashlight holster will accommodate that.
And
There's different ways to do it.
there's some stuff you got to figure out. What am I trying to accomplish with this piece of, the Mantis? Is it what's you got to decipher the information it's given you, and you got to be efficient at that too. I am a big fan of Cool Fire, the barrel.
Yes, which is an awesome system.
Gives me feedback. Really, is it the same recoil? No. It's about 2/3 of the recoil, right? But it is recoil.
Still recoil. You
Recoil is
still have to manage it.
I still got to manage it, or at least anticipate it so I can get back on target
Right.
and all that kind of stuff. And I can change magazines with it a lot, you know.
Right.
So I'm a big fan of the Cool Fire system. I use that in conjunction with my smokeless range simulator that I have. I have one
Right.
here in the room, and I have one at Tennessee Gun Country. So Cool Fire with that is and it has its own built-in Blue Evil box inside of it, and that's where you can shake out gear. He's like, you know, you can run 3-gun on that. Well, not 3-gun because I don't have a shotgun CO2 thingy, but
Right.
I can run my rifle and pistol on that simulator if I
Yeah.
want to, and it will give me feedback of, you know, this was your time, tick, tick,
Yeah.
tick, tick, tick. This is where your hits were. It's a really good system. Very pricey though. You
Yeah.
know, the Cool Fire is a little pricey, but considering the price of ammo
Yes,
right
sir.
now, and you know, a Cool Fire system costs me, I think, minus the CO2 thing, because I use the big kegerator
right.
system, you know, to load it. Minus that, my system is, I thought, like $350. I don't remember what that is,
Yeah.
but I could spend that in a day on ammo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I was to buy the ammo, I would spend that in a day. But this will last me, you know, the CO2 refill costs me $21 at
Yeah.
a place in town, and that will last me, you know, probably 2 weeks of training.
Right.
So I'm a big fan of that system right there. So, you know, I do pimp Cool Fire. I like
Yeah.
the kit a lot, you know. And you can use that in conjunction with the Mantis.
Right, right.
You can
Yeah,
use them
certainly.
both at the same time,
Yeah.
you know.
And Manisk you can use in dry fire or live fire, which is cool
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
You know, then there's a CERT pistol, which is another thing. It's does have
Is it-
click with the trigger, but throws the laser out, but no recoil, something. But you can change magazines.
Mm-hmm.
So there's lots of simulation devices, not just simulators, but devices you can use to augment your training. Of course, you know, nothing replicates shooting real bullets. But if you go shoot real ammunition without doing some other stuff, you're going to waste that ammunition.
Yeah,
Right? I mean,
you know, I'll
yeah.
tell students, they were like, yeah, you know, it's X amount of money for so many hours. I said, that's true. But you could spend, you know, buy 2 boxes of ammo, get you a rental gun, go downstairs on the range and shoot 100 times wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? As dry firing it, getting used to how they, and then you quantify it, not quantify it, but you're qualifying your training by going to the range going, okay, I understand it now. I'm shooting better.
Yes. And that's a good point. You know, to me, when you go shoot a match, that's your test. I mean, right? That's your test, right? That's your test that validates your training. But if you go shoot a match without any training, you're not helping yourself out.
Yeah. That's right.
So you got to have
matches.
training, you know. And I'm a big advocate in training, you know, where there's plenty of good stuff on the interwebs. You just got to make sure you pick a reputable source, you know, for that.
Hold on. My damn thingy went out. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you got to pick, you know, reputable source where to get your information from. There's plenty of good reputable trainers out there. But you know, training, it's all about, you know, you gotta have the training.
What is going on with my dude? There we go. Went off. So what is next? So when it comes to money, basic belt and holster and something to hold a magazine.
Yeah,
That's
several mags probably.
pretty much all you need.
Yeah, all you need to start.
Yeah.
And you know, get out there and do it. You know, get out there, shoot safely. You know, and you know that's the one big thing that I see. You know, because I'm a full-time firearms trainer for the military, and you know, a lot of this requires forethought and planning. You know, the easiest thing people want to do is just point guns at people because they don't think about it. You know, but you got to be safe. Go out, shoot a match, get your gear, don't get DQ'd, and that's the winning in the beginning.
All right. So when it comes to maintaining gear, there's not a whole lot to maintain on the handgun or on the firearms themselves and the magazines. There's some maintenance, but you need to worry about. Some people don't think about them little screws in your holsters, stuff like that. You know, they're like,
Yeah.
they get the holster, it just comes in, they're like, okay, they attach it, and their gun fits in it, and they're ready for new matches. And they probably need to do a few things prior to that.
Yeah, I can't. Well, I mean, you got to. Again, I used to be a pilot too. Say pre-flight, we check our gear, but
Right.
you know, but your pre-combat checks, whatever you want to call it. But you want to check your stuff out before you actually use it. You know, if there's screws on gear, you want to make sure you use Loctite or something like that. A lot of kites holster now, they come with some rubber grommets in there that help keep it in there. You want to check your stuff. I can't count the number of screws and stuff I've lost at matches. You know, you got a holster, you got 2 screws in all together, and the screw's missing. You know, so you definitely want to maintain and go through your stuff before your match. You want to go through all this stuff, just like your gun. You know, I used to be pretty bad about not cleaning my guns. Right, I don't clean my guns. You don't need to do that. But you know, it's not only just clean the gun; it's an inspection of what's broke. If you shoot guns, they're going to break.
Yeah,
stuff's going to vibrate, come loose, especially with the red dots on handgun slides now. You know, but you want to just maintain your gear and go through it. You know, in general.
So there are plenty of places on the YouTubes, the Grams, and other places to resource equipment, gear, right? I think the best place is at a match. Go there and look at the gear. Go there, see what they're using. Get your, hands on it. Feel it, touch it, the whole 9 yards. Wear it, and if you're using the same gun as somebody else there, and they're like, "Hey, can I try this out?" They will let you run their rig. They're like, "Here, try it out." You know, as long as they're not currently shooting at the time, they're very good about that. And it's better than taking somebody's word for it. Better than taking our word for it. Just say, "This is the gear you got to have. This is, this is our review. This is the greatest gear in the world." It might not be the greatest gear for you. You know what I mean, or that person. So go try.
And, with gear, you have to like it. Does it look cool to me?
Right.
I have to like the gear I'm using. I use, a lot of Safari Land stuff. But there's so much gear out there. I mean, a lot of the pro shooters out there have their own web stores. Like there's one in Kentucky, Shooters Connection. They sell a lot of competition gear. Ben Steger, he has his own pro shop, I know. Sells all kinds of gear on there. And the cool thing, if you get to join USPSA, they got a magazine. All kinds of people advertising there, right? Talking about all the guns and gear and stuff. You get to see a lot of pictures.
I'm not saying that the gear doesn't work that you see on the YouTube and all that. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but is it right for you?
It has to be right for you.
Yeah, it has to be right for you and your situation.
And I'm hop on the rules again. Has to meet your divisional requirements,
right?
Because there's nothing worse than going to a match. They're going to move you into another division because your gear, or they look at your gear and there's a certain distance your pistol has to be from your gun belt. They can measure it sometimes. But again, you're only going to see it at big matches. At a local match, bring what you got.
Yeah, like we used to do.
Bring what you got.
Right.
Local matches, bring what you got. And that's where everyone cuts their teeth, at local matches. And then the more you get into it, you learn, and you shoot major matches. You go to a major match, you want to make yourself right. Because there's nothing worse than, again, move to a different division or something because the gear you brought is not right.
So, what else you got over there to talk about? Oh, hey, look at that little gun on the right there. What is that?
You want to talk about?
Let's talk about that. This is a division in USPSA.
It is, and IDPA has it. So USPSA, IDPA is not just handgun. You can also shoot pistol caliber carbines. So I shot.
This is 9mm.
This is a 9mm AR-15. And the cool thing about 9mm, I got into it early on before PCC was even a term. I built a 9mm AR so I could shoot steel up close.
Right.
At pistol distance and be safe, because if I shot a centerfire rifle, it'd be super dangerous. Or you have to have frangible, right? So I was able to shoot this.
Which we saw sometimes it's still traveling too fast.
Yeah. So I was able to shoot this. So so you can shoot this in Steel Challenge, USPSA, IDPA, all kinds of stuff.
I'd call it cheating though.
It is.
Because they were always they would always have an overall, let's say we had a pistol match down.
Yeah.
They always had an overall winner, right? And it was always a PCC guy.
Well, again, you can do different things with this that you can't do.
They've gotten away from the overall thing because of this right here. And there were open shooters.
Yeah.
Open professional shooters who get wore out by PCC guys.
Yeah. Well, it depends how you look at your results. You can categorize it specifically, so you can look at the results however you want.
But when people really look at it, look at overall winner. I was overall winner.
They just say PCC is not a crime.
Yeah, it's cheating.
So it's cheating, but it's fun. But still though, what do we get out of this? We get a lot of training value out of it, especially when we shoot rifles for our day job or whatever that we're doing. So you have the
9mm is cheaper than 223.
It is. It is. So pretty good gun. They work pretty cool. They can be kind of finicky, and there's lots of good information on there that talks about it. Make these things run reliable. A lot of good companies. I know the cool thing right now is Springfield Army. They've got their own PCCs are making right now for everybody. You know, you buy one of their guns and all set up for you, ready to go.
They generally, if you get it from a company that has the entire rifle, it works pretty good.
Should work pretty good, yeah.
So when you start Frankensteining guns together,
Yeah.
they actually, the PCCs,
Yeah.
give you a hard time sometimes. You know.
But yeah, they shoot pretty good. So
What else you got over there?
I don't know what else you want to talk about. Man, I could bring some other guns over. Let's see what we got here. Bring a pile of them over. Actually, I could bring this gun over right here. This is where it all started for me. So, I initially, shot my first match. Told you in Gainesville, Georgia, when I was a Ranger instructor, and I went to flight school and became a pilot. Got stationed at Fort Bragg, and this was one of the guns I initially started shooting with. This is a Les Baer 45 ACP. Back in the day, USPSA was very simple.
Right.
It was limited division, open division, and revolver. That was it. And now, I don't know if I can name all the divisions. There's a pile of them.
Right.
But I shot this Les Baer 45. It was pretty popular back in the day. And I shot limited division with a 10-round magazine.
Isn't there a limited 10 division now?
There is. There's limited 10. So the cool thing is the same gun can fit in multiple divisions. So
Right.
as example.
It's just how many rounds you put in a magazine.
Yeah. So this gun here was my limited gun, which in limited, this gun is antiquated. No one does this anymore. But I shot 10-round mags back in the day. But if I use this 8-round mag, I can shoot it in single stack.
Just single stack division.
Right. If I use this mag, I can shoot it in limited 10. So sometimes the same gun will fit in multiple divisions to base on maybe little gear differences, but it depends on the magazine use.
Chris Campbell has I don't know if you've seen it, the Alien.
Yeah, that's a pretty neat gun.
It's got a rail, so it's got iron sights on it, but it's got a rail on top that you can take off and put a different rail on that you can have a red dot already attached to.
Like
So really cool handgun, and is made by a guy who used to work for CZ, I believe. It's a very heavy gun.
Yeah, and they're pretty pricey.
But you can use that gun in multiple categories. Because of the red dot and stuff like that. So yeah. That's really nice.
And of course, you look at something like that. Of course, Les Baer is a pretty high-end gun. And then, of course, we go back to the original old school gun, something like this. Old GI 1911-45, which you shot this. This is just for fun these days. These things it's like that old gear I busted out earlier. You're not going to use this. I mean, the sights on there are horrible. The trigger stinks, and no one's going to use this stuff anymore.
Yes, but it won 2 wars. According to all my 45 friends.
It did win some wars. Because I did bring a couple other guns. Like, this gun here would be more like a production type gun. However, I don't think it's production. Again, got to know the rules. I don't think this gun is 100% production legal. The gun's similar to this because I don't think you have a mag well.
Right.
If I remember right. But I don't shoot production division. Of course, I got the old school Beretta. It's owned by Langdon Tactical. And you can shoot this production the way it is right here.
Just as it is.
Yep, just as it is.
Yep, yeah, the trigger on this is different. That would also take it out of production.
You got to know the rules.
But you just, again, the book tells you everything you need to know.
But you can shoot this in limited vision. No problems.
So, let's see, what did I get over here? Oh, safety considerations. So I did bring these. So when it comes to gear, basic gear is fine. Again, like we were talking about earlier. And you don't need, when it comes to safety gear, like eyes and ears, you still need glasses that are, what's that material?
ANSI. Well, they got to be ANSI, it should be ANSI approved.
Right.
I can't remember.
Right. You can't get around that. And make sure if you're like, well, I wear eyeglasses, I would ensure that those eyeglasses are also ballistic or qualified for that. Ears, you can go with the foamies. I got it, and the foamies work fine. If you get them in right, they work fine. But my ears get sore all the time, in ears and all that kind of stuff. So I like these over ear type things. Now, these are these cheap Peltors here. I forgot what I paid for these. $19 at the gun store or something like that.
I mean, they'll work and they're adequate. They'll protect your ears.
But these are just over ear cups, and then there's these Impact Sports here, that are also noise what's that called?
They got a NRR rating, noise reduction rating.
Yes.
So how that works is when you look at your ear pro, you want to make sure you read the label on there, and they'll have the NRR rating, and that basically takes the top of the sound or whatever the sound is, however many decibels it is, and it reduces it that much off the top.
Right.
And a lot of people think, oh, it reduces it to 20. No, if you got a freaking cannon on a destroyer shooting, right? It's going to take the top of that decibel rating and reduce it by 20, 22, 25.
Right.
Opposed to a gunshot. And I don't know how many decibels.
And these are noise canceling also, so you can hear commands better with these, which is huge. You can hear commands from the RSO or whoever, and this will block the X amount of percentage off the.
Yeah, so when you have the high impulse portion of the noise,
and these are like $40 or something like that. These are very expensive. And then you have these. These are the Sortons right here. There's also a comfort level. These cheap ones, this little plastic cup here, I'm not. It's okay. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, but they are not as comfortable as these Sortons.
The gel cups.
Oh, these are nice right here. Yeah. And these do the same thing. These are also, what do they call it? Noise deadening. These do an amazing job at that also, but these are pricey. Yes. There's really not a need for them. Now, if you're like, I just can't take these hurt my ears too much, or whatever, then go ahead and get these type right here. But
then I would like to say something about Ear Pro is, you're like, oh, I'm getting used to noise. Yeah. You're going deaf.
That's right.
Yeah, you're not getting. A lot of people like, I'm getting used to noise. No, there's no getting used to noise.
As young as Houston is, he's already having issues.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it's a matter of taking care of them now.
Yeah.
You see some professional, shooters that do this for a living. I don't do this for a living. You don't do it. Well, you do it for a living. They double up. They'll put foamies in, or
I double up
the conies, and then put these on top of that.
At outdoor ranges, I don't, but our range we have overhead cover where I work, and I do double up.
Yeah, just put foamies in, or the conical type, or whatever that is, the little tree-looking things, and then put these on over the top of it. It makes it harder to hear commands, but you're not hearing the gunshots.
Electronics
are reduced. Yeah, the electronic ones.
I run some in-ear electronics sometimes too, especially when it's real hot out. I don't like wearing those because it gets a little hotter. So I wear the in-ear one sometimes. So I got multiple sets of Ear Pro, and I'm always changing depending on the environment or how much I want to protect my ear.
Take our word for it. You should try out other. Now, you could go to a gun store, like if you go to Tennessee Gun Country, when you rent guns or go to the range, they have headphones. You say, hey, which ones are these? How much are these? I really like these or don't. Or try other people's, don't try them on and don't. They got no problem doing that. It's just, these are important. If you're going to splurge, this is the type of gear you should splurge on right here.
Yes.
This and your eyes.
Yes.
Now, speaking of eyes, I can't see iron sights very well with my regular glasses. I'm wearing contacts now. I have to wear the goggles that have the little reading glasses in the corner right here. I can see quite well. I can see my front sight then. You need to look at that. If you're like, well, I'll wear glasses, but I want to wear these. There are companies out there that build professional, work glasses that put a little reading glass panel on your, you can have it in both eyes, you can have it in one eye, it doesn't matter. Look into that. That's what I did. It worked out pretty good. Until I started wearing glasses, and I just wear glasses,
The cool thing about red dots on handguns and rifles is you're target focused. And when that red dot's out there, it almost like it superimposes that dot on the target. So your regular everyday glasses will work. So I can shoot these glasses, although I don't prefer to. They don't provide myself enough protection when shooting steel.
Correct.
I have other glasses I wear when I shoot, but I could shoot in these glasses, which I'm waiting on a pair of Oakleys right now from Oakley that are progressives to shoot in with red dots.
And that's another thing, red dots versus
ways I shoot.
It's a whole different category, division. Is there a division for red dots only? I mean, meaning Yeah, I'd take my Glock red dot and shoot in the same division as the Glock
Carry optics.
carry optics, right?
Yeah.
Don't go cheap on those. I'm sorry, but you do not want to go cheap on it because you're going to buy twice.
Yeah.
You know, what's the saying? Buy once, cry once.
Buy once, cry once.
Right? Some optics are expensive for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm a big Trijicon RMR fan. You know, Rob.
Yeah.
You know, not cheap. You're a
I got Leopold's.
Leopold's friend.
But,
there's a reason they cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
And if that's another thing, I guess if you're going to splurge on, you should.
Yeah.
If you want to do red dot,
It's funny to say Spurgeon. I don't know if you can see my hat on there, but it says Night Force.
ooh,
You know, not cheap stuff.
yeah,
right?
not cheap, right?
You know, but I'm using my Night Force scopes for my 22 stuff. I got you know, real expensive optic on my 22. Why? Because it's good and it works, and you know, anyway, it's all of the subject there.
Right.
But you know, again, spend good money. Matter of fact, I do want to. I don't know if you do this to your guns. I'll share this with you though. You do that on your guns?
I can't see it.
So I put a little torque stripe on there. So I take a little paint pen, got all my screws.
Oh
there.
yeah. Let you know if it's come loose.
And I'm telling you, if you don't do it on your red dots, because pistols on red dots, it's hard on the optics, right? The slide, it's like it's getting hit with a hammer every time.
It's more violent than the AR-15.
Yeah, it's crazy violent. So it's going to come loose eventually. Make sure you read your manual, you torque it down to the torque spec and stuff. If you don't have the right tools to do that, you probably should get them.
Right.
You know, where you can do that stuff. You know, and put your your stripes on there. I was at a shooting school last fall when I was at Rogers Shooting School. I went there, and because of that, I noticed it was coming loose because the stripes I put on there. Yeah,
Let you know right off the bat.
no, I mean they take a good. It's a piece of electronic, but it's going to fail eventually. Mm-hmm. So, but anyway,
That's why
that's a good tip there.
Again, the pricier your optic, the more, the better warranty you're going to get with it too.
And a lot of these companies, even the companies that make the cheap optics, they'll put out a warranty, lifetime warranty, right, on this cheap Chinese optic, right? How about this? How about I don't ever want to use your warranty? When I'm on a mountaintop in Afghanistan taking a shot, or I spent thousands of dollars to go to a shooting school, or maybe my life depends on it, and your optic fails, your warranty did not help me out right now.
Right.
So that's why it's important to, spend the money. A lot of times they just offer a lifetime warranty to help people. We got a lifetime warranty. I don't care about your warranty. I mean, I do care, but I want your shit to work.
Right.
When
Every
I
time.
need it.
Every time.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, what else do we got? We got anything else on here? I think that is it. Oh, I got this. I don't know if you saw my new gun that Chris brought in. It's this is a new division right here. It's the.
I don't know. I'd be shooting matches with a 88 Magnum.
This is my 88 Magnum, and if you remember the movie Johnny Dangerously with Joe Piscopo. Yes, this is a new division here. It's under Revolver, obviously, but I think it's Super Max Division right here. So, Chris Campbell brought me this, and
That's pretty.
I said it in here.
Did he make it?
I don't think he did. I don't know what he was.
That's pretty neat, though.
Or he just brought it in here to. So, anything else on gear you want to talk about?
Man, I don't know if I got anything else over there. You want? And I did bring more holsters and stuff. I mean, but they're similar.
Yeah, there's a bazillion.
I mean,
Bazillion of it, right?
similar to
This would work on a belt right here,
Yeah.
and you can still and still change it out with that Safari Land system that you were talking about. There you go.
Yeah. And hey, you want to change that out? Put this one on it.
Yeah.
All is just gonna.
Works like a champ, and this just connects to your belt.
Yeah.
It's similar to that. So there are stages and levels of gear. So you're using the same gear, but you can add this to it.
Yeah.
Or add the backing to this to that, and so you're probably using this holster with the factory loops like this to come with it.
Yeah.
And now you can buy this gear, the Safari Land gear, to put on the back of it, and attach it to your
depending on, or just, simple slide on your belt, just like the belt you had earlier. When I shot IDPA not too long ago, that was the holster I used for my Scotto.
You see how it's got these in here to grip the belt so it doesn't move back and forth? It's pretty nice.
So, and you want to get good gear. There's nothing worse than, especially if you don't buy good gear, like if you got a holster that collapses, a lot of times they'll take people take their non-firing hand and put their pistol in their holster, and they'll bring their pistol down, sweep their hand, that'll get you DQ'd right away in a match. Yeah.
So we're not saying don't buy good gear. We're saying buy the good gear the first time. You know what I mean? Don't go just say, I'm just going to buy all this good gear that, that these people showed me on the YouTubes, and it's not gear you need.
Yeah.
You can start off with a belt, and you can start off with this right here at a belt. And you can go
probably need a couple more of those though.
Maybe.
But really, and you can, honestly, you just leave them in your back pocket.
You can put magazines in your back pocket.
In your back pocket, right?
So you're
it's simple as a gun, this, go shoot.
So if you already own a gun and you already own the holsters to carry your gun, you can literally go compete with it. If you
can, certainly can.
There's no reason you have to say, I got to have special ninja gear.
Which is that's how I started.
As you get better and you want to change divisions or change gear and you found, I need to do this a little faster, then start buying gear.
Yep.
Little by little
I mean, if you want to get into it, it's going to be a money pit, just like it. But, it's a good skill set to have.
Right.
That's
funny. So, all right. Anything else for us that we got?
Man, I think we did we talk about everything?
We'll do range bag later, I think. And looks like we got everything, so I appreciate it. And I think you and I are going to go have some barbecue or something. And if you're ready for it. All right. Thanks for coming.